was little, she used to do cheerleading, and they used to do this chant over and over again. It was like, W-Y-O, let's go. W-Y-O. For some reason, that sticks with me today. And
Okay.
that's all I have to say. What is home?
I think that's a profession. I don't know. It's the place where I sleep.
The borough of Wyomissing was originally established in 1906 by the two principal founders of the Wyomissing Industries, which were located here. And then the adjacent land was developed as a residential community primarily for their workers and the management people. So you'll find in the borough to be a very wide range of types of housing. And some of it literally dates back to the beginning. This building that we're sitting in was originally the home of one of the two founders, Ferdinand Toon. The borough was started then and has grown steadily ever since. We now have a bit over 10,000 residents. We have a park system that encompasses over 350 acres, centered around the Wyomissing Creek. And those areas were designated as parklands from the very beginning. The Toons and Janssens were very generous in providing that space for the community. I don't think there's a municipal park anywhere else in Berks County that comes close to it, probably not many in eastern Pennsylvania, quite honestly. We have remained a very desirable place to do business, to raise a family. I think that the reason people like it here is there's many of us that have been here a long time that call it home, but we have also a good number of younger people that have lived here for a short period of time that now say, man, I can see this being my place to stay. You know, why? I think people feel comfortable and safe. Our job basically is don't screw this up. You know, we have a fantastic thing that they've given us that I believe we can honestly say we have enhanced, have not let them down, but it never ends. You got to keep moving. When you stop growing, you start dying, and we're not going to let that happen.
My grandmother said, I crossed an ocean for my husband, you can cross a bridge for yours. When we saw this house, I loved it right away. I really loved the house. I just didn't want to, not just leave the city, I did not want to leave my grandmother. But it was great. It's a great place to raise children. Wonderful neighborhood. I can't imagine raising my children anywhere else but here. The friends they made when they were little, they are still friends with them now. It seems like it had a lifetime of memories.
So we're called the Wyomissing Spartans. That is our mascot. But back when we were founded, we used to be called the Wyomissing Warriors. Back when we were Wyomissing High School. And then West Reading, nearby, had a high school, and their mascot was the Mavericks. And then when the schools merged, they became Wyomissing Area High School, so they changed the mascot to the Spartans. It's a really good place to grow up. I mean, it's a nice, small town. There's a real sense of community. They used to do, class pictures of us for, our individual classes and stuff. And I looked at, my 30-person class from kindergarten. I think I graduated with, 15 of them. It's crazy. There's rarely a time where I meet someone and I have no idea who they are.
If you were to say some random name, I would more than likely know who they are. The small community is good to grow up in because it seems huge when you're little. I've never grown up anywhere else. It's just home.
This is Cece riding her birthday bike. She's 7 years old. Wow, you're really old.
I like coming back. I mean, I've always liked living here. As much as I loved where I was in college, you always want to come home and, see your old friends. And I think that's lucky for me because I do know a lot of people up at school that despise going back home. because they just don't get along there, or they just don't feel like they belong there. And I feel like I'm lucky enough to feel like I have a place here, even if I don't live here permanently anymore. This is our logo, and a lot of people get confused about this because it's the W and it's supposed to also be an A, see? And some people just think it's a fancy looking W.
Yeah, wait, what's the A for?
No.
What?
Wyomissing area high school.
Oh, no way! The way I just learned that. We're taking our walk that we did during quarantine, when the national lockdown hit. Really all we were allowed to do was go on our state-issued walk every single day. My mom, my sister, and I would walk on this pathway. My world was these 3 little streets. It became such a good time for me to reflect on how fortunate I am to grow up here. That's all I have to say. If you want to catch me, probably at Starbucks, your local comedy club. I'm there every single day. I do in fact do stand-up. When I think of home, I really think of this place because you'll see in a second. This place like never changes. No matter how far I go, or like whenever I go to school and come back, like this place has always remained the same. This exact like strip of land is like featured in every single film basically, or vlog that I own. It's just like, this is literally my favorite place in the whole county. My friends and I grew up coming here for 4th of July at the top of the hill up there. We would watch the fireworks. We always run the hill. There's always deer here that I'm afraid of. Something about it is just like very Wyo to me. Fun fact about this place, I actually filmed my very first ever like real-time movie here. It was a music video to Viva La Vida by Coldplay. And I literally had Lauren and Tierney run through these trees because I thought it was pretty. And that will forever be my favorite video I've ever made. I think that's why, and what makes Wyo so unique is how close of a community it is and how everyone just knows each other. I worked here over the summer running a summer camp for kids for 4.5, 5 years. I could not imagine living anywhere else because this is the only place that I've lived. It's honestly like a little oasis almost in eastern Pennsylvania, and when people say they haven't heard of it, it honestly makes me a little sad. Because even when I bring some friends from college back here to just kind of see the area, they don't understand the history that it has. Like, I went to Wyomissing High School and I graduated from Wyo. I graduated with a class of 166, and I can confidently say that I knew at least the first name of every single kid I graduated with. And I could easily say I knew at least half the kids in the grade above me and the grades below me because of coming to playground. I knew them. And it just made me feel so connected. I mean, I walk around here and I'm able to say hi to every single person I see on the street because I know them. I would tell my younger self to not wish it away too quickly. I feel like looking back now, I wanted to leave so badly to be able to experience other places and see new things that I think sometimes I wasn't as in the moment as I should have been. And so those memories that I could have created weren't formed in my head. So I think there are times where I'm lacking in memories from certain events. I wish I could go back and tell myself to not wish it away so quickly and to live in the moment more. You talked about how a lot of your childhood was shaped by Happy Hollow, and I never even mentioned that my Why-Missing was shaped by you. When I think about growing up in Wyo, like I don't have like a tie to the town for like school. Yeah, it's in, I went to school around here, but it's not like my high school wasn't named Wyo or whatever. But so when I think about growing up as a child in Wyo, I think about you. Because of all of our memories. Like we literally grew up
the stereotypical like playing in the mud or like putting on multiple productions for my mother. You're in all of our family photos because you're part of the family. Like you're holding my cousins, you're posing with my grandmother. I don't think I'd be doing you justice if I didn't mention that you were my Wyomissing, so.
Just a wonderful place. I think the 4th of July parade is kind of a microcosm of all that, right? That's basically small town America, and that's how I grew up.
I grew up and was born in Reading, PA, and then in the 4th grade, we moved to Wyomissing Hills. So I was very young and didn't really know much different other than there was a lot of room and there were a lot of trees to climb, and I wasn't used to that because my earlier years, you know, living in the city, it was all concrete. So it was really a nice way to grow up because there were a lot of kids in the neighborhood. And I immediately met a girlfriend, Diane, who lived down the street, and we were inseparable. But I have just really fond memories of kids being in the neighborhood and just the freedom to kind of do anything that we wanted. I remember how my parents loved socializing with the neighbors, and everyone was friends and the kids were friends, and you don't get that now. Now that I look back and the older I get, I really appreciate the Wyomissing area much more than I ever did.
So I lived a lot of places. I lived in Washington, D.C. I lived in Philadelphia. I lived in Boston. To be honest with you, I loved all of those places, but everywhere that I lived, I would always compare it to Berks County, Reading, Wyomissing. And you know, I had a great childhood. I had a lot of friends growing up, and I wanted my kids to, number one, be close to my parents, and at least have a set of grandparents close by, but and more importantly, I wanted them to grow up kind of similar to how I grew up. So that's kind of why we came back, because it's easy to live here. It's very simple. It's turned out to be very much what I wanted, the kind of the hometown feel, the small town feel. I'm not living the life that I led when I was a kid. I have a totally different life with a totally separate group of friends, and so while I'm living in my hometown, I'm not reliving my life as a child. I would say that there is an intangible quality, something that you really can't put your finger on, to living in Berks County. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted my kids to grow up very similar to how I grew up, because I thought I had a great childhood.
I moved around a lot when I was a kid, and we lived in a bunch of different places, and we grew up without any family around. It was just my mother and my sisters and I. And I really wanted you kids to be raised with extended family around. And that was what was the most important thing to me when we decided to move to Wyomissing. I didn't grow up here, and I'm not from here, but I feel like I'm from here now.
It's a very happy place to raise a family.
Is my hair okay?
I don't think you're supposed to blow out the candles in COVID.
No, he's joking. Look over here. I mean, it's look at me.
Like, what makes it feel like home here?
Well, that's kind of easy for me because I grew up here, so it.
That's true.
it is home.
wait, time out.
He looks at no, just smile.
What does he look like now?
No, put the phone down.
It looks better because you're talking to me. Wow, that was anticlimactic.